Hi there, welcome to visionOntv for this special interview of Patrick Chalmers just before he leaves the country for France, where he lives now. And for this edition of GlobalNet 21, changing our behavior and how can government take a role into this, and should he take a role into this? I'm going to ask Patrick, do you think our government should have a role in changing the behavior of our citizens?
I think government has some role in some of the more obvious elements of behaviour. I mean, government should certainly be helping to make us behave in ways that we're not killing each other, that we don't steal all our neighbours' property, that we don't attack people physically. There are various basic elements that government has a role in facilitating or moderating. But I think for the vast majority of things, probably it's best that governments stick out of it, basically, and get out of it and stay out of it.
And one risk, which is very clearly possible, is having one degree intervention, one simple dimension of intervention. And the world of problem is so complex. How do you think the government should do that instead, should intervene instead?
Well, I mean, I think it's precisely that, is that they should keep their interventions very limited. I think the nature of government is also that it tends to be a fairly elite activity, so they won't understand the complexity of everything that goes on below them down to the grassroots level. And so government in theory is meant to be something of the people, but it's not in practice. The government that we have is not representative of people. So given that it is that way, it should be extremely wary about trying to direct the culture of, you know, all the variety down beneath it.
And talking about this intervention, do you think government understands, you partly replied to that, the complexity of culture and culture change in the society?
I can give a very short answer to this: no.
And parting from that, I'm guessing you're going to say something about how civil society should invest this gap between this lack of understanding and the real complexity.
It's clear that there's a crisis of confidence in government at every level. We see it in so many different subjects that are there in everyday news that we see. So there is a crisis in government, and we can sit as citizens and complain, or we can actually just get on and do locally the things that we actually want to see happen. And I think that that is what we have to do. We have to stop complaining and expecting the cavalry to arrive in the form of civil servants or politicians. They're not coming, and if they're coming, they're going to mess it all up. So we should get on and do it ourselves.
Final question. In our complicated crisis, we have limited resources, and we also have great inequality. How do you think we can best change our behavior?
I think we can best change our behaviour. I mean, my perspective is from journalism and governance. You know, I write about that in Broadcast News, the book. And what I suggest in that book is that we should do whatever we do locally. So we should do journalism locally. We should focus that journalism on local governance. And then we should share those examples elsewhere, because many of the issues are the same. You know, whether it's a poor part of London or a poor part of Toulouse, near where I'm going, or a rural community in France, a rural community in England, often the problems are quite similar. So we do our things locally, we focus on governance with our journalism, and we teach other people to do that, and then we share those examples elsewhere. I think that's the best we can do.
Okay, thank you so much, Patrick, for talking to us. This was Mark for visionOntv reporting for GlobalNet 21 for this special session of changing our behavior. Thank you so much, Patrick. And if you want to read more about Forecast News, forecastnews.net is the website you want to see. Thank you so much.